like him. He cool. He seems
It's the
cool.
15th
I
of
don't know.
March, 44 BC in Rome.
44 BC. That's mad long ago though. Mad long. Wait, what is B? Hold on. Because BC is before Christ, right? But what does that actually mean? Because I always it says used to count years backwards prior to the estimated birth of Jesus, dividing history into BC before AD. After works like a countdown, higher BC numbers represent earlier days. It is widely used. So what is like 1 BC? Like, who was born on that day?
The most powerful man in the Roman Republic, the dictator Julius Caesar, walks through the doors of the Curia of Pompey.
I don't even know how he died though. Actually, no. Who was he? Let's do a really quick thing. So Julius Caesar was a Roman general and statesman who was a dictator of the Roman Republic officially from 49 BC until the assassination 44 BC. A member of the first Viltrumite, he led the Roman armies through the Gallic wars and defeated his political rival Pompey in Caesar's civil war. So he was a man about business until he got assassinated. That's crazy. But hey, bro, if he could get it, well, nah. Damn, bro, this just shows you, bro, like anybody could really get it for real. Anybody could get it. Facts.
The temporary gathering point for the Roman Senate's meetings.
Anybody could get it, bro. Nobody
the usual
really safe.
venue, the Roman Forum, a kilometre to the southeast, is undergoing renovations to build a new Senate house in Caesar's name, and is unavailable. The Curia, meaning meeting place in Latin, is located at the eastern point of a large open courtyard known as the Portico of Pompey.
It's crazy though how we really know all of this off of like just finding different things and like finding stuff. Like we know, obviously we're not 100% accurate. I don't think we can be, but it's crazy to see how much we can get off like, you feel me? Because obviously all these people who were born at this time, they're dead. They're gone. Not even just gone. It's like their flesh is gone. They're just bones. Most of their bones are gone, but it's crazy how much we know. Same thing with like dinosaurs, like how much we know. Like we got to like figure out how dinosaurs, like how like the sounds they make off of like, I don't even know how they did that. I gotta watch a video on that too, because that's crazy.
Compared to the Forum, it's rather secluded. It has no direct access to the side streets of Rome, and the only exits lead directly onto the portico. Today, this area is occupied by a large group of armed gladiators, who are loitering near the Curia entrance, trying to stay inconspicuous. Inside the Curia, senators are nervously milling about. They watch as Caesar takes a seat on his golden ceremonial chair at the front
Had a
of
golden
the room.
chair. Talk about
Caesar's
showing
right-hand
off
man
much.
and closest
Hey, what's up with
ally,
this?
his co-consul Mark Antony, who had been with him before he entered, is nowhere to be seen.
Whoa, did he have
Unbeknownst to
something do
him,
with it?
Antony is nearby, just outside, but he's being distracted by another senator. Caesar is alone.
So why did they kill him?
Across
though?
the room, a man rises from the benches and starts walking.
Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, how do we know this? Unless, like, it's like in writing or something like that. Like, bro, death certificate or something. They wrote out his assassination, like how it happened. The assassination of Julius Caesar.
But first, this video is sponsored by Odoo. This is a
To understand Caesar's death, we have to understand how he got here.
Thank you.
In the eyes of Rome's political elite, Caesar had grown too powerful. Over the course of an almost 40-year career, he reached Rome's highest public office, consul. He conquered all of modern-day France and Belgium and parts of Switzerland, Germany, and the Netherlands. By all accounts, he was a military genius, and charismatic too. His armies, comprised of Roman legions, became loyal to him and only him. His many victories with them made him fabulously wealthy. Finally, he had a habit.
I want to see his descendants. Like, does he have any? Oh, Julius Caesar left no surviving legitimate male heir to continue his direct bloodline. His only acknowledged son, Caesarion, was executed at the age of 17 by the order of Octavian. His daughter, Julia, died in childbirth, with her child also dying shortly after. Jesus Christ, bro. Dang. That's crazy to think about, bro. Like, his bloodline is gone. That's crazy to think about. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like most people, like who was at this type of power and like who had this type of into like they said he was like a war genius, something like that. Like people of this value, I feel like their bloodline shouldn't end. Get what I'm saying? I don't know. I just find it real crazy how his bloodline is done. That's wild.
Of pandering to the masses, opposing unpopular policies, and presenting himself as a man of
I
the
don't know what they
people.
talking about.
He became very popular. Perhaps too popular.
Okay, so they killed him because they was jealous of him, or he was just an evil man or something like that. I don't know. He let the power get to him and he became like a bad guy, or what?
In 49 BC, fearing Caesar was becoming larger than Rome, the Senate, alongside his chief rival, Pompey the Great, moved against him.
Pompey, we just read about that.
They attempted to recall him from his campaign in Gaul and strip him of his military command. A command which gave him legal immunity under Roman law. Sensing that his enemies wished to prosecute him and curb his power on his return to the city, Caesar made a fateful decision. With a legion of soldiers in tow, he crossed the Rubicon River in northern Italy. The river marked the border between the Roman heartland and its other provinces, and by Roman law, all returning generals had to disband their armies and lay down their arms before crossing it, as to avoid internal conflicts. By deliberately ignoring this, Caesar started a civil war. One that would last 4 years and span the entire republic.
Hold on. So the crossing began January 9, 49 BC. Pompey flees to Greece. Wait, which one takes place first? Caesar wins Spain. Pompey flees to Greece. Pompey got assassinated in the Battle of whoever. Civil War in Egypt. Caesar installs Cleopatra. Battle of Zelta. Battle of Thapsus. Battle of Munda. Hold on. Okay, so the war lasted for over 4 years. Well, 49, 45. The conflict, which began when... Damn, but he won in the end, though. Wow. So the nigga basically sort of kind of started the war, but he also became out victorious. Yeah, he had to go. What the fuck? Wow.
In March of 45 BC, he would win that civil war, having defeated Pompey the Great, the only man that could rival him in influence and wealth.
Damn,
this
Pompey
made him the undisputed most powerful man in Rome. The Senate, an institution that once sought to reduce...
Let me look up Pompey. So Pompey is just like second up. Damn, this nigga named Pompey the Great? That's tough. That's tough. I'm not gonna lie, that's tough. His nickname Pompey the Great? That's tough. That's tough.
His power and influence elected him to the consulship a further 3 times. And finally, in February of 44 BC, granted him the title of dictator for life. For a time before the foundation of the Roman Republic, Rome had been ruled by kings. Tyrannical, cruel kings. When the last monarch, Tarquin the Proud, was overthrown around 509 BC,
Those things are tough though. Like their names, and then they put the, and then after it, like Pompey the Great.
the Roman
What was his name?
monarch, Tarquin the Proud, was
Tarquin the Proud. Just tough. Just tough.
overthrown around 509 BC. The Roman people, particularly the conservative aristocracy that would end up forming most of the Senate, vowed that no king should rule Rome again. It now seemed that Caesar fancied himself a king. He began wearing opulent royal garbs and constructing statues of himself in public. His allies called for extravagant celebrations in his honor and proposed and later succeeded in changing the month of Quintilis, the month he was born.
Okay, that's how he did right. That's how he did right though. That's how he did right. That's pushing it. That's pushing it. That's tight pushing, I'm not gonna lie.
Julius. He installed in the Senate a golden chair designed specifically for him, the chair upon which he sits today. Caesar had grown too powerful, and he was flaunting it. He threatened the continued existence of the Republic. If defeating him on the battlefield was impossible, his foes would have to find another way to bring him down. The men who conspired to kill Caesar,
I mean, if you keep winning, like, I mean, what you expect though? I'm just saying, like, you keep winning, people keep trying to come at you, you keep coming out victorious. It's like, yo, what you want me to do? Not pop it? You gotta pop it, bro.
a group of about 60, are diverse in their backgrounds. A few are former allies who felt their loyalty to him had not been sufficiently. Some are remnants of the Pompeian faction, the group that fought Caesar during the Civil War under Pompey the Great. A group,
I mean, I guess because they were just doing what they were, like, you know. Yeah.
he perhaps foolishly pardoned. A handful simply oppose his accumulation.
Okay. He said that in a way like they had something to do with it. I mean, I feel like if Julius Caesar got assassinated, I would think that the people who were with Pompey were involved. So you have Group 1, which is the former allies. You have Group 2, the Pompeians. 3 of the Republicans.
Of power out of principle, fearing he would destroy the state's republican values. Most, however, are members of the conservative aristocracy.
So it's either one of them, or probably all 4 of them grouped up to figure out a plan to assassinate him.
Who profit greatly from Rome's republican form of government as they monopolize the Senate and thus oppose Caesar's centralization of power.
Probably all 4
These men
came
had
together.
been meeting in secret for months to hatch a plan to kill him.
Yeah. Oh, none of them like him. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It makes the most sense.
They considered assassinating him in public on a street in Rome known as the Via Sacra. This was probably abandoned because the venue was too public. Any ally of Caesar's, if they were nearby, could simply intervene. Caesar had no bodyguards on payroll while in the city.
But how did they kill him?
He was known to surround himself with some particularly intimidating friends to compensate. Another questionable idea was flinging him from a bridge and placing a number of armed men below it to ensure the fall would be fatal. They also considered striking while he was at a gladiator show, as they could hide the assassins in plain sight, posing as gladiators. Ultimately, though, a Senate session on the 15th of March was selected to be the best time to strike. Soon after this date, Caesar would be outside of the city on a military campaign to defeat the Dacians and the Parthian Empire to Rome's east, making it far more difficult for them to reach him and allowing him to accumulate even more glory, prestige, and power. Choosing a Senate meeting made sense.
I'm just not getting why did they do it though. I get it, they don't like him. He's flaunting around, But was he making like was he like you get what I'm saying? Like was he making it so like Rome was probably like making less money, or like they were he was making bad deals with people that were hurting people, he was hurting people in Rome. Like what did he do to make them not like him besides the Popians or whatever? Because I mean, he defeated they big bro, so you feel me, they gotta get back for that. But the other people, like the Republicans and the former allies, like why did they turn on him?
Too.
Is
All
it just
those
because he was
present
annoying?
were sure to be unarmed, as it was generally prohibited to bring weapons into the Senate House, making resistance unlikely. Most of the Senate were indeed loyal to Caesar, but even his closest allies were
Okay. Group of senators who feared his growing. Oh, okay, yeah. They feared his growing absolute power. Was seen as a threat to the traditional Roman Republic and was accused of aiming for a monarchy, sparking fear and envy among the ruling elite. Oh, okay.
think twice to spring to his defense when faced with a blade.
So they feared he intended to become the king of Rome, and it was very unpopular in Roman culture. Okay, so he was like, walking around like he was the king, and they didn't like that because they don't want no king. Okay, hold on. Was sent to opponents that he would not voluntarily relinquish power. Disrespecting the Senate. Okay, Caesar have filled the Senate with his own supporters, reducing the influence of traditional old guard families. He accumulated excessive honors and powers which undermined the checks and balances of the Roman Republic. Many senators had their own unfulfilled ambitions or felt cited by Caesar's and promotions. So they were just jealous of him. So they were just jealous. He didn't really do nothing bad though. That's what I'm saying. Like the way like he got assassinated. I'm thinking that like he was probably making Rome like worse. I don't know if he actually was, but from what I'm seeing, he wasn't making Rome worse or bad or anything like that. He wasn't like ruining anything. Well, he was, but you get what I'm saying. So he was just basically he was becoming too powerful, and they were afraid of that. And he was looking like a king, and they didn't want a king, but he probably wanted to be king of Rome, and they didn't want a king of Rome. And he basically did his own thing. Everything that he wanted to do, basically, they didn't like. And they feared him. Obviously, they feared him because they killed him. Okay. So they were just jealous of him.
In a closed Senate meeting, Caesar could be dealt with.
I want to see how he died, though. I don't know how he died.
Away from the prying eyes and ears of the public and Caesar's informal protection.
Okay, so they caught him. They had to catch him off guard.
On the day of the 15th, daggers are secretly brought into the Curia of Pompey in wooden boxes, usually used to carry writing tablets for record keeping. Before Caesar's arrival, members of the conspiracy retrieve the blades and conceal them underneath their togas. Outside the building, the conspirators deploy a group of armed gladiators to cover the Curia's exits.
Okay. I was looking up, did Rome get worse after Julius was assassinated? It said yes. Rome arguably became much worse in the intimate aftermath of Julius Caesar's assassination, experiencing severe chaos, brutal civil wars, and political instability. While conspirators sought to restore the Republic, they created a power vacuum that led to years of fighting, ultimately ending the Republic and establishing the Empire under Augustus. So they made it worse. Caesar's murder did not restore the Republic. Instead, it triggered... Wow. So it literally made it worse.
That Caesar won't get far.
Wow. That's what they
try
get.
To escape.
That is what they get.
They are owned by the senator Decimus Brutus, a man that Caesar considers to be a close friend and ally.
And
a man
he
named second in his will. A man
wow.
that Caesar trusts.
And he
Caesar
plotted to kill him.
The presence of the gladiators, knowing them to be Decimuses.
Dang, so
finally,
so niggas been snakes. Dang, bro, that's crazy. He put bro in his will. He trusted bro. Dang. Did he ever try to talk to like Caesar? Like, yo, bro, like I know you want to be like, you want to be king of Rome, but like we don't want that, bit, bro. Feel me? Like I know you, like you my brother. Like I'm gonna tell you straight up, like we don't want that. Could you please not do it? Feel me? Do it for us, for Rome. Like did he not go up to him and talk to him? He just said, "Nah, fuck that. One plan and one plan only. He gotta die."
When Caesar arrives with his co-consul Mark Antony, a senator by the name of Gaius Trebonius pulls him
Nah, they had
aside
some wild
and
names.
begins to speak with him. Antony is a big, brawny man, and his loyalty to Caesar is without question. The conspiracy thought it wise to take him out of the equation and ensure he did not intervene in Caesar's defense. Though the conspirators originally considered murdering the both of them together, they thought the optics of killing Caesar alone would be better. It would appear like the just killing of a tyrant, and not an arbitrary massacre. The stage is now set. All that remains is for the signal to be given.
So they stabbed my boy?
That signal is Senator Tullius Cimber. As he marches towards the dictator, he exclaims loudly
I'ma look him
that
up.
Caesar should pardon his brother and return him from exile. Suddenly, dozens of other senators rise from their seats, and they too start approaching Caesar, shouting words of support for Cimber's request. The senators circle him like sharks in the water, growing ever closer, until Cimber thrusts out his fist and tears Caesar's toga down, revealing the tunic underneath. Startled, Caesar recoils and shouts. Moments later, the senator Publius Casca strikes the first blow from behind, with a dagger thrust that grazes Caesar's shoulder.
Dang, so my boy he got stabbed to death by like multiple people?
He rises in shock, twirls around, and allegedly stabs Casca with a pen in retaliation. But alas, the pen is not mightier than the sword. In seconds, Caesar becomes enveloped by a shroud of togas and
Damn, I wonder what was going through his mind. Hold on. But I wonder what was going on. Obviously, he's like, oh my gosh. But it's like, I don't know. Like, what do you think? Like, you know you about to die. Like, what is he thinking of right now? Like, what is he, like, I don't know. Did he fight back?
collapses under a hail
Let me
of
just watch it
daggers.
and shut up.
Two Caesar loyalists try to break through to defend him, but they are pushed back. Marcus Brutus, a leading conspirator and former Pompeian, stabs Caesar in the groin amid the frenzy.
That's bad. I know.
A truly humiliating blow. After inflicting
Caesar him in all on sides, which way he turned, confronting blows of weapons aimed at his face and eyes, driven hither, and the yo, like a wild beast, was entangled in the hands of all, for all had to take part in the sacrifice and taste of the slaughter. Therefore, Marcus Brutus also gave him one blow in the
23
groin.
stab wounds, the crowd
He got stabbed 23 times, bro. Wow.
of assassins stand back and admire their work. The would-be king, the tyrant, is dead. In a twist of irony, Caesar would bleed out beneath a statue of his former Civil War rival, Pompey the Great. A statue he had refused to tear down.
Because he respected him?
Caesar should have seen it coming. According to classical sources, a month before his demise in February of 44 BC, he visited a fortune teller by the name of Spurina. He brought to her an animal to be sacrificed, and it is said that on the altar she could not find its heart in its chest cavity. Seeing this as a bad omen, she warned Caesar his life was in danger. The next day, when he returned again with a different sacrifice, she was unable to find part of its liver. From the entrails of the animal, she divined that Caesar would come to great harm on the Ides of March, otherwise known as the 15th.
No way. No way that's actually real. No way this is actually real. Because he literally died in, what, did he die in March? No way this story is real, though. This story can't be real. There's no way that she actually said that and he was actually warned.
The midpoint of the month. But that wasn't all. The Roman historian Plutarch tells us that on the day before the 15th, Caesar and a fellow senator began discussing the best way to die. To which Caesar responded, quote, "A death which is unexpected."
Dang, that's crazy, bro. He said a death which is unexpected, and that's literally how he died. Voice crack, an unexpected death.
Ominously, later that
But
evening,
it was a terrible way to go, but it was still unexpected. 23 stab wounds, and you got stabbed in the day?
when he and his wife Calpurnia were asleep, the windows and doors of their bedchamber flew open simultaneously, rousing Caesar from his slumber. His wife was yet asleep, yet she tossed and turned, muttering something under her breath. The next morning, upon waking up, she begged
He was type
Caesar
fly, though.
not to attend the Senate meeting, for she had dreamt their house had collapsed and seen visions of her holding Caesar's bloodied, lifeless corpse.
And we don't even know how his face actually looked.
Caesar was, by Roman standards, not particularly superstitious, but the mounting signs were enough to put
Does
even
he have a
him
book?
at unease.
Does he have a book, bro? I would probably read his life story because he sounds very interesting. I think we probably learned about him in school, but I didn't pay attention. Of course, he has books. Yeah, I might have to.
To be
He
sure,
have a movie
he
or
summoned
something? Of
his
course he
own
has a movie.
seers and had them
But he got
conduct
it.
sacrificial
1962. I'm not watching a 1962 movie, dude.
rituals. All of them yielded bad omens.
Okay.
That was enough for
2022.
him to postpone the Senate meeting, resolving not to attend. So why in the end did he end up going? Well, his old friend, Decimus Brutus, convinced him on the morning of the Senate meeting to ignore the omens and attend anyway. He appealed to Caesar's ego. Would it not appear improper and above all ridiculous or cowardly if Caesar did not show his face at a session he summoned merely on the grounds of superstition? What would that sort of behaviour do to his reputation? So he went, and on his way to the Curia of Pompey, he was stopped by a man on the street. The man handed him a scroll and urged him to read it immediately, claiming it contained.
So if he would have had like actual guards with him, he probably wouldn't have died, right? Like if he wouldn't have had like actual like guards. Well, I don't know. They probably would have like paid them more money to not intervene though. But if they did intervene though, he probably wouldn't have died. He probably would have got stabbed though at least once or twice, but he probably wouldn't have died.
Concerned him. Reports tell us that this scroll supposedly contained details of the plot against him. For one reason or another, Caesar did not read it.
What if he wanted to die? What if he just wanted to die though? What if he wanted to die? What if he wanted this to happen? Cause there's no way. You go to the lady, she tell you, yo, you go die. You go die. You go die. And then like a couple weeks later, your girl have a nightmare that you died. You died. And then someone asks you a couple weeks later after that, yo, what's the best way to go? Unexpected death. And then a nigga come up to you and tell you, yo, bro, somebody plotting on you. Here, you don't take it. I think he wanted to die.
And walked directly into the lion's den.
He wanted to die, I think.
Caesar's death would lead to a power vacuum and civil war that determined the fate of the Republic. Caesar's adoptive son, Octavian, and his former consul, Mark Antony, would form an alliance with one of
So he adopted a son.
Caesar's
But he
most
died,
trusted
though.
generals, Marcus Lepidus. Together they would hunt down the men that murdered Caesar and crush all who opposed their rule, leading ultimately to the fall of the Republic and the rise of a hereditary monarchy under the Roman Empire. Octavian would become emperor,
When in
and he
Rome.
would not make his father's mistakes. Caesar pardoned many of his enemies, even promoted them, and gave them honours. Where others would have destroyed every trace of Pompey, Caesar elected to keep his statues up as a show of grace. His mercy might have killed him, and it might mean that the last thing that Caesar ever saw while he was dying in a pool of his own blood was a statue of Pompey, staring down at him mockingly. Caesar treated his foes too kindly, and flaunted his power too brazenly, making him a man that people hated, not necessarily a man that they feared. In the words of the historian John Balston, if an authoritarian government was to be established successfully in the Republic's place, it must not be, like Caesar's, an inconsiderate, careless and frank authoritarianism. It must wear a Republican mask, however false.
And the second lesson was that if an authoritarian government was to be established successfully in the Republic's place, it must not be like Caesar's inconsiderate, careless, frank. It must wear a Republican mask, however false. So basically, he was just annoying. He was literally just annoying, and he got killed for that. That's type. I ain't gonna lie. That's wild. That's wild. He was annoying, and he got killed, murdered, cold blood. And then, wow, that's good words though. Wow. That's actually crazy though. Like literally, gently. That was a very good vid though.